2023, 10 a.m. I'll motion to go into Board of Equalization.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we're in the Board of Equalization. This is an official hearing and it will be recorded and you will be sworn in if you're presenting evidence. The appellate will have 10 minutes and will present his case first. The assessor's office will have the same amount of time. You will then have 5 minutes to question, and each party will have an opportunity to do a closing statement. After both parties have presented their information, we will close the public hearing and no more evidence will be accepted and the BOCC will discuss and make a vote. So if you're presenting evidence, could you please stand and raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and start the process and we will start with the appellant. If you could say your first name and last name and your address, please.
Nickerson, 4587. I think that's got that wrong. Old River Road, Kingston, Idaho.
Okay.
I think we're working on the first one we're working on is parcel number RP 49N02E058500A.
Okay.
Parcel number. Address of the parcel. Okay. And I just want to figure out how to make this thing right. Okay, because and I'm going back and you guys asked for 4 or 5 sales, but it's easier for you guys that are in real estate than us people that aren't to find that stuff. So I didn't have that. And we're talking about 22.8 acres. And we have rural land. It's industrial land, and it was valued at in 2000. It was valued at $257,000. I missed my appointment last year because I was 15 minutes late, and it was total market value of $323,799. Or $374,819, excuse me. And this year they valued it at $578,484. And the land value went up from 169 to 237. And of course they have other land, wasteland. And the wasteland went up from 97 to 194,981. The buildings are like 145, and they went up from $5,000 to $45,000 more. There's been no improvements on, and a lot of them are more than. They're not really buildings, they're sheds because they don't have doors on everything. Okay. And they're in despair. I'm sure they probably took pictures of them.
Yeah.
I would have thought. Okay. And I can probably point out on the pictures that they have the despair. Okay. That's the first one.
Okay. Okay. And so what we'll do is we'll let you go ahead and go through all these and then they'll present what they have. And then you can question it after that.
You want to do them all at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. And the next one is parcel number RP 48-9N02E206100A. That's a residence up the West Fork of Pine Creek. And they walked through this one a couple of years ago with me, and in 20 it was is valued at $65.19. And I believe 21, they walked through it. And they valued it at $67,000. $416. 22 was 93, $415, and this year they value it $179,000. Nothing's been done. One of the garages actually was, which was a shed, is you probably have pictures if it's still standing. And they have the property value and the house. Okay. That would be the second one. Third one is
That's probably your mobile home, so it's the MH number.
okay. The next one is a mobile home. It's on the it's MH 00795 A. It's at 4587 Old River Road. And they have it for like 28,642 for the current next physical next year. Last year they had it at 5,100 bucks, and they had a $500 improvement on it. They have a $500 improvement on it this year. There's been no improvements on it, either one. The year before that, it was like $3,500. And I'd have been glad to walk them through it because there's holes in the floor. There's been no improvement, and it's a mobile home. And they depreciate, don't appreciate. And I was going to get a book value on it. It's a 1982. So I don't know where they're getting the improvements other than the air conditioner. The wall rotted and fell off, and I put a piece of plywood over it. And the back wall is all, they took pictures of them. You'll see it. That's mine. And I just want to figure out how to make this right. Appreciate your help.
Okay, I'm Katie Murray, Deputy Assessor. I'm gonna pass out my exhibit packet. So this is gonna be all 3 parcels, but we'll just go through them one at a time.
Oh,
We'll start with the parcel that's up the river. It should be the first exhibit packet that you have. So Exhibit A is going to be some comparables that I used. Exhibit B is some pictures of the buildings that are on the parcel. You can see the condition, like he had mentioned, there's pictures of that. Then Exhibit C is an aerial of it, and Exhibit D is showing you the grading of all the improvements on the parcel, which I'll walk you through that too. So this parcel that we're talking about has 22.8 acres. It has multiple buildings on them, and the total value is $522,791. The first comparable is over 7 acres. It sold for $375. No housing development on it. There's just a shed. The second parcel is 2 acres. It sold for $250. It has 1 pole building on it. And then the third sale is just bare land. It's 14 acres. It sold for $399, so $400,000. None of these are waterfronts. They're just parcels of land with no livable dwellings on them.
And this parcel's not waterfront.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So on 6/23/23, the owner came in on the last day to file an appeal concerned about the value of the whole parcel. So when people come in on the last day, it's really hard to go do inspections or anything like that. At that point, we just have to file appeals and go from there. I looked into the way the land was classified, and I made some changes in it to reflect the actual and functional usage of the parcel. So what I did is the way that it was classified as usage, I just changed it to what it actually is now. So right now I have 10 acres of commercial, 3 acres of rural undeveloped, and then 8 acres of woodland, which is just timber, and then a 1 acre home site for the mobile home that's sitting here. All of those are graded fair, poor, and then the timber is graded good. The buildings improvements are no longer being assessed with any sort of sawmill related values. They're just strictly pole buildings with their grade and condition taken into account, which you can see in Exhibit D, with everything be considered no higher than fair, and they're mostly in poor condition. So if you look in the packet that I gave you in Exhibit D, there's a chart looking screenshot, and you can see that everything's graded, and then the condition is poor, fair, poor, poor, and down the line, some being very poor. So they are not being assessed as buildings in good condition. They have their year built and then fair or poor or very poor condition on them. According to the state for 2023, we needed to increase land values. The weight of the value was too heavy on the improvements. The 3 land sales I provided show that land with non-livable improvements sell, and that 4587 Old River Road does have a fair market value, even so after the adjustments that were made. So when I redid the land, there was a little bit of a value change, and he received a new value statement. So the original one that went out was $578,484. And after changing the land around to show actual and functional, he is at $522,791. So the difference in value there was $55,693. That is all I have for that parcel. Next, I will move on to the mobile home. It's sitting on the same land. There's no land value that goes with the mobile home. In that exhibit packet, the exhibit A is going to be the mobile home with the comparables that I used, a picture of the mobile home, and then a memo that was written that I will get to in a minute. So he has a 1988 mobile home. It's valued at $28,642. Those improvements, the $500 improvements that you were referring to, are the wood decks and the enclosed front porch there. So it's not actually improvements done to the mobile home. It's just other things outside of the mobile home sitting on the land. The mobile home is graded fair, and in 2022, it was assessed at $5,600 for a total, and we'll get to that. The first sale was a single wide 1978, also fair, and it sold for $75,000 in 2023. Second mobile home is also a double wide, just like the subject. It's fair average, so slightly better condition. It sold for $90,000. And the second one is a single wide fair, again, much less square footage, and it sold for $32,500. The assessed values at the bottom there, if you look at them, the first subject, $16,000, second one, $36,000, third one, $8,000. It's pretty clear that our mobile home values needed to be raised for 2023. In Exhibit C is a memo that I just wanted to show you. At some point in history, a partial interior inspection was done. It was determined that the floors are rotting, there was a slope, it was used as an office, and at that point, it was just being used as storage. The owner stated that he paid $3,200 for it. So in 2018, there was no change to it. In 2020, the owner came in to the office after value statements had went out, and it again was the last day of an appeal. So the owner talked to Connie Holmquist and I, and it was decided between the two of us that we would put a $3,000 site value on it, which indicates that the mobile home was barely usable. It would only be used for storage, and that's the impression we were under, with it being the last day and it being a mobile home with a low value. We put $3,000 on it for storage, knowing that in 2023, the parcel was going to be on its 5-year inspection. So in October of 2023, the mobile home and its land it sits on was on its 5-year inspection. No one was home during the inspection, but it was very clear that there's renters living there, and the mobile home is definitely in livable conditions. And that doesn't warrant such a low storage value. To enter such a low value on a mobile home, we have to use what's called a site value. And the site value would keep that mobile home at the intended value, although still moving it with market. So,
Was that last year? It's not 2023, right?
right, I'm sorry, yeah, 22.
Okay.
I was out there for 2023's values.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
okay.
the inspection year is 2023.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so we have a site value for 3,200 and it goes out for the 5,000 because it was moving with the market. But that $3,200 value was a storage value, not it being rented out. And it's clear that there's renters there. No one was home. I couldn't do an inspection. So I removed the site value. It's being appraised now at actual and functional, which is which is livable mobile home built in 1988. So as you can see from the sales, although mobile homes do depreciate, their assessed value for 2022 were low and they needed to be increased up to market value. And then moving on to the third house, this one is at Pine Creek. The Exhibit A in that packet is the house and its comparables. There's a picture of the dwelling and then an aerial photo of it. And then again, the letter from the state that says that we were out of compliance on our residential. So the first comparable I used, it has 0.14 acres. It sold for $185,000. Most of the weight of that sale looks to be in the dwelling. The two sales that I used behind that are land sales, both in Pine Creek. The first sale sold in 2022 for $155,000. It's 4.89 acres, no home site, it's just land, and the access to it is not as accessible as the subject. And then the last sale is 0.66 acres. It sold in 2021 for $82,500. It was just land. It is being valued as a home site. That's why I used it. It has no development on it. So on that comp 3, I kind of crunched some numbers here. It's a home site, no development. It sold in 2021 for $82,000. In 2021, we had it assessed for $23,000. Then it sells for $82,000. And then we raise it or increase our values in 2022, and it brings that parcel to $37,000. So it's kind of hard to follow, but the 45% that we went up in 2022, this kind of shows that it wasn't enough. We didn't even come close to the sale price of that last land sale that is in my comps. As he stated, an appraiser and I went out for an interior inspection in 21. He asked us to go out there. She made some changes to it, and the value of the house for 2023 is $38,700. That's a pretty low value for a dwelling, and that is due to the condition and everything else that she had found wrong with it. Most of the value on this parcel is with the land due to the improvements having such a low value. Pine Creek land had a substantial value increase for 2023, with the improvements having no increase. Per the state of Idaho, the weight of the value was being placed on the improvements portion of the total value, and it was becoming out of balance. The land was contributing to the total. With the sales from the last couple of years, we can see that Pine Creek area has had minimal increases, and an increase in 2023 was needed to stay in the 90 to 110% compliance standard required from the state. It seems like a large increase for 1 year, but to put it simply, Pine Creek wasn't being increased at fair market value for the last 2 years. With the 2023 land value and the recent inspection on the dwelling with the adjustments, this parcel is at fair market value, in our opinion, for 2023.
I just had a quick question. Now, on these mobile homes, these are just the mobile homes, not the land.
Correct.
Okay.
No lands in those sales.
No land, so mobile home sales only. Okay. Hey, you can ask questions.
Okay, on the mobile home bins were there.
Mhm.
That is a 1984, I believe, according to my title. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure that's what it is, not 88.
Okay, I'll look into that.
And when I looked into insurance, which I haven't got a quote back for what they would insure it for me,
Mhm.
because they value it as a depreciated value from new till now, not You know,
Right, insurance values and market value are going to be a little different just because we're looking at what it would sell for, not what the replacement value.
Yeah, they wouldn't replace it over X many dollars. So when you look at that, if something happened to have a fire and you couldn't insure it and you got a tax for that, who picks up the deficiency? How do we work that out?
Beyond me, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Tax question. If it's there January 1st, it would still be assessable in tax. If taxpayers decide not to pay that, it's gone. Yeah, just off to the county, unless it's on land, then it can be certified to the land. On leased property, there's not much county can do with it.
But what I'm saying is if you can only buy insurance for X many dollars and you appraise it for, you pay tax on it for X many more dollars, so you're paying more than what you can buy insurance, would you, if you were paying taxes on what you could value it for insurance? That was my.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. Where she's got 4 comparables or 3 comparables that are showing that, like a 1978 mobile home sold for $75,000. That's just for the mobile home. And I kind of agree with you that it'd be hard to get insurance on that. I don't think that, but that's the going rate. That's the problem that we're having is people are willing to pay $90,000 for a 1977 mobile home. It's just, so that would be an insurance question. I agree with you, but people are paying that.
Okay. Thank you, though. So then let's do, I think I have them over here. The West Fork of Pine Creek home. I go back to look at, there's a creek running through this, so it's not all the 0.11 acres, and you look at what your comparisons are on housing, and you look at the land difference. Part of this 1.29 acres is actually a creek. In the garage, that outbuilding that sits alongside of it, the left back corner of it is out over the creek. So you can see down through that. So I know that's in the improvement area. So
So it looks like we have your home site at 0.69 acres, and then the rest of it is outside of that. So I think that's taking into account.
you got it.
Right, that is total, but here I can see that the way that it's valued is separated out slightly. So your home site, your value of your home site is 0.69, and then you have 0.6 in other land.
So 0.69. If you take the other stuff here and go and divide it out, probably a little high on the ground.
I just looking at the total here, you have 1.29 and 2 of the sales are under that. This one that's over that is not a home site. It has no development on it. The access is not off the road.
4.89 acres.
Mm-hmm. So that's just land. That's no development. That's no home site. That's no direct access up there.
It's still land.
Yeah.
4.89 acres versus 1 point, whatever, points, what is that?
Right. And your total value, you have a house sitting there, your development, your access, your yard, your driveways,
So what do you have for, you have 0.69 on the land?
well, total, you have one.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
I think you got what?
The home site's 0.69, yeah.
And then the rest is like, what,
We call it rural undeveloped, but it's your extra land or.
0.6? And that's what I'm looking at, the 0.6 with the creek run down
Mm-hmm.
to it. So it's actually less than that usable. and you divide the values out between the rest of them, you'll come up with, I believe, a less land value than we have.
Correct. If you're talking about the land sales, that would be correct. The difference in the land sales and yours is that yours is a developed home site. These ones they're just fair land.
But you got a
Am I missing?
0.69 for my home site development, and you got a 0.6, and you combine them together on the land. From what, unless I'm misunderstanding something.
So your total land is 1.29.
Correct.
Approximately half is attributed to the home site. And then the other half is other land.
You just I would like you to look into it though.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I'm here to try to figure out how to make things work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think we have one left. And you guys had some pictures of it. Yeah, we need one that shows an area. I have it right here.
You know, this one?
Yeah, that'll work. So the one thing you guys did, and I know you looked at buildings and you took pictures because you showed buildings. This building here is actually, it's not a building, it's a cooling shed. And it's all collapsed on all the posts, all the big beams that run across the bottom side because when it cooled, the ice had run down and freeze on the corners. So it'd settle it.
This one?
That one right there would be all these where the posts are. 5 of them.
Okay. So we have that one in fair condition, which means that it is not in very good condition. So I think that is being taken in account for with that fair grade and condition. That can be looked at for the next year if you would want to request that. I can make a note.
Yeah, make a note.
Okay.
And then some of the other buildings that you have pictures of are pretty much in despair too. Well, you have pictures of some of it, but not all.
If you look at this, you can see how these are all.
I don't
Graded.
have that.
Yep, it's in the back of your packet here,
Was it?
right here.
Oh, okay.
So you can see the grading on them.
Huh.
The condition of them, I should say.
Which building is this?
So you can tell by the square footage that 4,500 square feet one is the one we were just talking about.
Okay, and that's not a building, that's a steel frame.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah. The only one with doors on it really is this one.
Okay.
Well, I just don't understand the big jumps when you jumped it last year and you jumped it again this year. I guess would be it went from 370 something to 578.
It just goes back to staying in compliance with the state. We have to stay at market, so between 90 and 110%. And based off of sales, we have to apply the increases to the areas.
Well, that was more than 110%, 370 something to 578.
Well, it was for that neighborhood, whatever the increase was there.
The land is,
Yeah.
we've been having this same discussion with all the property assessments that, they went up quite a bit and it's just the way it's this area. It really has just.
People are paying the money for
People are paying, just like that
above,
mobile
beyond.
home, $70,000 or $75,000 for a 78 mobile home, just the home. That's just kind of, I used to, we used to abandon mobile homes because they were, you couldn't get them off the lot. I mean, it cost you more money to remove them than it was, but now they're paying, it's what it is right now.
So I bought that from the party that bought that from the auction,
Mhm.
and they were supposed to move it. And they said, we can't move it, it'll fall apart. So that's how I ended up with that. Otherwise, I'd have put a better one there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it structurally wouldn't move. Okay, well, I guess you're done with me.
Okay, we're about out of time. So I would, motion to close the, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna close this part of the hearing and then, go into a decision hearing. And so we can't take any more evidence, any more questions. So, motion to go into regular session.
Okay, a second.
Just a minute, one moment. This is the road, isn't it? The main road.
North is this direction, so wherever the road lies.
So I believe this building fell down.
Okay. I'll make a note of that.
I believe it's that one.
Okay,
It fell down a year and a half ago.
okay, we'll make a note, we'll go look at it.
All
I
in
never
favor?
cleaned up.
Okay.
Aye. Okay, now we're in regular session. Have you reviewed everything and,
I have,
Okay.
like we just explained, it's unfortunate what the people are doing to our market with their purchases. It's up to us to see valid documentation that you bring forth to us to rebuttal what the assessors have, and I haven't seen anything, fee appraisals or anything of that sort. So I'm gonna have the motion to stick with what the assessors have valued the residents of that.
and that's what we're here for is, we're here to, if the assessor erred, to see if the assess, in the assessment, and there has to be evidence brought forward and to be able to prove that error, that there was an error or deficiency in the, assessment, and I don't see it either. There's no other evidence. I would go ahead and second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. You can appeal to the state.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
you bet. Thank you.